High above the planet Veltrax 7, a Galactic Council patrol ship drifted through the quiet of space. It was a routine check, no danger expected. The crew was relaxed. Some even laughed about the humans and how they still hadn't responded. "They're too soft," one officer said, sipping his glowing green drink. "Always talking peace and feelings." The captain nodded. "Earth won't do anything. They're afraid of war." He was wrong. Without warning, the lights on the ship flickered. A cold shiver ran through the metal floor. The stars outside suddenly vanished, like something massive had moved between them and the ship. "What was that?" the pilot asked, looking around. "Scanner's not picking up anything," said the engineer. "But something's out there." Then they saw it. A massive black shape slowly appeared just beyond the ship. It wasn't using normal engines. No fire, no sound, just dark metal moving like a shadow. "Is that a ship?" one alien whispered. It didn't match any known design. It had no lights, no markings, and no communication signals. But it was there, silent and still, like a monster waiting in the dark. The Council patrol ship tried to hail it. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself." No answer. The black ship moved closer. Its surface seemed to shimmer, like it was made of liquid metal. The Council crew started to panic. "Back away." "Full power," the captain shouted. Too late. A soft hum echoed through the patrol ship. Every screen turned black. Engines shut down. The crew lost control. Then came the beam. A thin line of blue light shot from the black ship. It didn't explode. It didn't burn. It just cut. In one smooth motion, the Council ship split into two halves. Clean, silent, perfect. No one on that ship survived. In less than a minute, the Council patrol was gone. No noise, no fire, just emptiness. The black ship vanished into the stars. Back on Earth, the president watched the secret footage. The humans hadn't sent that ship. It had launched itself. One of the Titans had chosen to act. "Which one was it?" she asked. "Codename Silent Star," the general replied. "It's fully awake now, running on old AI code. We never expected it to move first." And the others? They're watching. Some are shifting positions, waiting. The president took a deep breath. "No official attack orders from us. But if the Titans act on their own, we won't stop them." All across the galaxy, rumors began to spread. A Council ship had disappeared. No distress call. No debris found. Just gone. At first, the Council tried to hide it. But witnesses on nearby space stations started talking. Traders swore they saw something. A shadow in space, something that swallowed light and didn't make a sound. They started calling it the Phantom. Some thought it was a ghost. Others feared it was something Earth had built long ago. But no one really knew. Back on Veltrax 7, the Council held an emergency meeting. Varak, the alien who ordered Lion's death, stood at the head of the table. "We cannot let humans threaten our authority," he growled. "We must strike Earth before they act." Another counselor raised a hand. "Are we sure it was them? The humans haven't spoken." Varak's eyes narrowed. "Exactly. That's what makes it worse. They are planning something. We must crush them before they wake up more machines." But not everyone agreed. Some feared Earth's silence more than its words. A young alien advisor stood up and said softly, "Sir, what if Earth already woke up?" Everyone stared at him. No one laughed. Back on Earth, in a hidden hangar beneath the sands of the Sahara, another Titan ship opened its eyes. Its engines glowed blue for the first time in centuries. Its name, Revenant. The stars were watching, and Earth was almost ready. The galaxy watched in fear. The Titans, Earth's ancient warships, moved silently through space, each one powerful enough to bring entire star systems to their knees. The Galactic Council, once so proud and confident, now struggled to understand what was happening. Earth was no longer hiding. On the capital planet, the council leaders were desperate. They had called for peace talks, but Earth had not responded to any communications. The ships continued to patrol, to block trade routes, to strike fear into every corner of the galaxy. The council couldn't control what they didn't understand. And then something far worse happened. The first of Earth's titans, Vengeance, moved toward Lindros, a peaceful agricultural planet on the edge of council space. It had no military presence, no defense, just farms, families, and quiet communities. Lindros was the first place Earth's ships arrived. Vengeance didn't attack. Instead, it dropped something. A single, small pod, barely the size of a house, landed in the fields. It was covered in dust and sand. The people of Lindros gathered around it, curious, unaware of the danger they faced. The pod opened with a hiss, releasing a small cloud of gas. And then, from inside, a single message was transmitted to every communication device on Lindros. "We are Earth. We demand your surrender." The planet's leaders were confused. They couldn't understand why Earth's ships would act like this. No weapons fired, no destruction, just a message. Before they could respond, the pod released a second wave of gas, and the local defense system, which had been inactive for years, suddenly powered up, controlled by Earth. The people of Lindros had no choice. They surrendered without a single shot fired. Back at the council's meeting hall, the panic had spread. The leaders demanded answers. What is Earth doing? Why haven't they attacked directly? Why this strange method? One counselor shouted. "We don't know, Verak," the council's head replied. His face was pale. "But whatever it is, it's too controlled, too quiet. It's as if Earth is testing us." And then came the worst news. Lindros was not the only target. Silent Star, Earth's most fearsome Titan ship, had begun moving toward another planet. Norath, a large industrial world with a population of over 10 billion. Norath was the center of the galaxy's metal production, and the Council needed its resources. The leaders feared that if Silent Star took Norath, they would lose their only source of heavy materials. And that's when it happened. Silent Star did not attack. It simply hovered above Norath's atmosphere. For 3 days, it remained still, casting a dark shadow over the planet. On the 4th day, the message came. "We are Earth. We demand your surrender." The people of Norath didn't know what to do. The Council was too far away to help, and the planet's leaders were too afraid to fight back. They tried to send signals to the Council, but they were jammed. Earth had blocked every communication channel. The industrial planet fell to Earth without a single shot fired. The galaxy trembled. And then, Judgment, Earth's largest Titan ship, began to move. This was the ship that had been dormant for centuries, a ship so large it could crush entire fleets with a single blow. It wasn't going to be quiet anymore. Judgment didn't approach a peaceful world. It aimed for the Council's home planet, the heart of their power. This was no message. This was an invasion. The Council scrambled. Ships moved to defend the capital, but they were no match for Judgment. As it entered orbit, it released a field of energy so strong that it knocked out all nearby communications. The streets of the capital began to rumble. People looked up and saw the massive ship hanging above them. And then, nothing. The Titan ship didn't fire. It didn't attack. It waited. The message came only once. "We are Earth. This is your last chance." It was clear now. Earth wasn't here to destroy. They were here to take what they wanted, to claim the galaxy. Back on Earth, the President watched the news from the safety of the underground command center. The Titans had done their job. They had shown the galaxy Earth's power. Now, Earth was ready to negotiate, not for peace, but for control. Ambassador Ria Lang stood before the camera, her voice calm but firm. "We will no longer be ignored. We will no longer be mocked. The time for silence is over. You will surrender, or we will take what is ours." The screen cut off. The message was sent. The galaxy was on edge. The Council had no choice. They couldn't fight Earth's titans, and the people of the galaxy knew it. Earth had made its move. And now, no one could stop it. The Council had thought they could break humanity. They thought Earth was weak, easily ruled. But now, they were learning the cost of their arrogance. In the Council's war room, Velker looked up at the massive window, watching the dark ships overhead. "We've lost," he whispered. "There's nothing we can do." Malor, the elder leader, nodded slowly. "Yes, and this time, there will be no recovery." The Revenant fleet didn't fire a single shot. They didn't need to. Instead, the ships began to fade, disappearing into the shadows of the galaxy. But the message was clear. Earth wasn't just sending a fleet. They were sending a promise. And the promise was simple. Never forget the price of taking from humanity. The galaxy had been shaken. The Galactic Council had ruled for centuries, but now it was crumbling. And Earth had proven that no matter how deep the silence, no matter how far the darkness stretched, humanity would always return. Back on Earth, President Alina Vos stood on the balcony, watching the stars. "We won," she whispered, but there was no joy in her voice. Not yet. And so, the battle was over. But the true cost of what had happened would echo through the galaxy for centuries to come. The Galactic Council had learned that Earth could not be crushed. They could not be ignored. And now, the galaxy would never forget. The galaxy was silent. After the final strike, after the shadows had faded, Earth stood alone. But for the first time in centuries, humanity was not alone in the universe. They had made their mark. They had shown the galaxy who they truly were. On Earth, life had started to return to normal. The wars, the battles, the struggles of the past few months. Now, they were just memories. People went about their daily lives, but they knew things would never be the same again. President Alina Vos sat in her office, staring out at the peaceful horizon. The weight of everything they had done still hung heavy on her shoulders. She had led her people to victory, but the cost had been high. The death of Mela Rain had set this all in motion, and though the Council had been defeated, the memory of that innocent child still haunted her. Alina placed her hands on the desk and took a deep breath. "We did what we had to do," she whispered to herself. Her comm link beeped, pulling her from her thoughts. "Madam President," General Marcus Drell said as his face appeared on the screen. "There's a transmission from Velfar Prime. They want to speak with you." Alina's eyes narrowed. The Galactic Council was broken. What could they want now? "Put it through," she replied. On the other side of the galaxy, on Velfar Prime, the remaining leaders of the Galactic Council were gathered in a small room. Their planet, once a symbol of power, was now in ruins. Their people were scattered, their fleets destroyed, and their systems in chaos. Chairman Velker looked exhausted. He had aged years in just a few days. Beside him stood Myler, the elder who had once been their most trusted advisor. Velker's voice trembled when he spoke. "We come not to ask for peace, but to acknowledge our defeat. We understand now. The galaxy has changed. We cannot undo what we have done." The colony of Nova Eden was a peaceful place. It was one of the newest human colonies, built on a green and beautiful planet. Humans and aliens lived there together. There were shops, schools, parks, and people of many species walking side by side. Everyone believed Nova Eden was safe. Mila Rain, a 9-year-old human girl, lived there with her mother. Her father worked on a deep spaceship and visited once every 6 months. Mila was a kind child. She loved drawing stars and birds. She liked giving candy to alien children, even if they looked scary to others. Mila had never hurt anyone. One afternoon, Mila walked into a market stall owned by an alien named Kelvar, a rich and powerful official from the planet Duraxis. He was known for being strict and proud. He didn't like humans much. Mila was curious about the shiny toys on his stall. She picked one up, smiled, and asked, "How much is this?" Before she could put it back, Kelvar shouted, "Thief!" People gathered around. Mila cried and tried to explain, but Kelvar had already sent a signal to the Galactic Patrol. 2 guards, tall and armored, came quickly. They didn't listen to her. They didn't even contact her mother. Within 1 hour, Mila was taken to the local council station. No trial, no lawyer, just one short hearing. The judge was an alien who followed the council's rules strictly. Kelvar stood there and said, "She must be punished. Let this be a lesson. Stealing is stealing." The judge agreed. By the Galactic Order Code 117, theft by minor humans is punishable by death under colony law. Approved. Mila's screams were silenced. No one from Earth was informed. No chance was given to speak. A child was gone, just like that. The next day, a merchant ship from Nova Eden arrived at Mars Station. Someone on board had leaked the truth. They had recorded everything. Mila being taken, crying, her final moments. The video spread like wildfire. People couldn't believe it. They killed a child. Without trial, asked one woman on Earth's news channel. Another person shouted, "Where was the Earth ambassador? Why didn't we protect her?" Within 24 hours, the United Earth Nations held an emergency meeting. President Elena Vos looked pale. Her hands trembled as she replayed the footage. The room went silent. Generals, diplomats, scientists, everyone watched the last moments of a little girl's life. The screen showed her reaching out, saying, "I want to go home," before the screen cut to black. President Vos whispered, "They murdered her." For what? Holding a toy. General Marcus Drell, an old war hero, stood up. His voice was cold. "They wanted to make an example out of us. To remind humans that we are still outsiders in this galaxy." He looked around the table, but they forgot who we are. Far below the surface of Earth, in an old military bunker in Alaska, something stirred. A black terminal flickered to life for the first time in 140 years. The screen displayed 2 words, Project Eternity. Another voice, deeper and mechanical, came from a dark war room filled with shadows. Authorization required. President Vos nodded. Begin activation. In a hidden room under Mount Helicon, a group of old military leaders had gathered. They called themselves the Silent Circle, a secret team formed during Earth's first contact with aliens. They were protectors of Earth's last resort weapons, warships from the ancient wars, ships too dangerous to keep flying, but too valuable to destroy. General Drell walked into the room, his face dark and filled with sorrow. "They killed a child," he said. "They forgot who we were." No one spoke. One by one, they placed their hands on the console. The system accepted them. Lights turned red. Doors opened deep underground. Old engines began to hum. Somewhere in the dark void of the solar system, an old satellite sent out a signal, encrypted and silent. The message read, "Project Eternity. Reactate IV8." Back on Nova Eden, Kelvar sat in his office, sipping his drink. He laughed with his friends, saying, "Humans are always weak. They will cry. They will write songs. But they will do nothing." But far above him, unseen and silent, something moved in the shadows of space. A black shape, cold and still, slowly opened its eyes, and the stars began to whisper. They remember. It had been 7 days since the Galactic Council ship vanished in space. The Council still had no answers, no data, no signal. Just fear. Some leaders still believed humans were weak. Others were no longer so sure. The silence from Earth had become terrifying. And then, Earth finally spoke. Across every galactic communication channel, a message appeared. It was simple, just 4 words. "We remember the child." The message repeated every hour, in every language, on every planet. The Council tried to block it, But it was no use. The message kept coming, unstoppable, as if it came from everywhere at once. Alien citizens began asking questions. Who was the child? What happened? Why was Earth silent until now? And most importantly, what are they going to do? On the planet Karnas, a large alien news station tried to mock the message. They cry over one child. The anchor laughed. That is weakness, not strength. But just as the show aired, the station's satellites went offline. Their backup systems failed. The screen went black. Then a new message appeared on the station's screen. You laughed. Now watch. Seconds later, a black triangle-shaped ship appeared above the city, floating silently. No sound, no energy reading. People ran in panic, but the ship did nothing. It just hovered for 2 minutes and vanished. Not a single shot was fired, but the fear it left behind was worse than war. Back on Earth, in the command center, the president stood with her generals. It's time, she said. No more hiding. Should we launch the Titans? The general asked. She shook her head. Not yet. First, we send a voice. A human diplomat, Ambassador Ria Lang, stood before a camera. She wore a simple black suit. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with fire. Her speech was short and broadcast across the galaxy. We did not ask for war. We built peace. We trusted the Council. But you killed our child. You called us weak. You laughed at our pain. But pain is not weakness. Pain is memory. And now, Earth remembers. She looked into the camera for a long second. To those who value life, stay out of our way. To those who stood by and laughed, your silence will be your grave. The feed ended. The galaxy trembled. Alien worlds went quiet. Traders stopped moving between sectors. Some planets even raised their defense shields for the first time in 100 years. And yet, Earth had not fired a single weapon. But in deep space, something had changed. The Titan fleet was now fully awake. Vengeance, Echo, Revenant, Silent Star, and one more, Judgment, the largest of them all. Judgment had not moved in 500 years. Until now. Beneath the ocean floor, it began to rise. The planet shook. In space, Council satellites picked up the signal. A ship the size of a small moon was heading toward the outer rim of Council space. No crew, no lights, just a cold, steady path. Where is it going? Asked a Council scout officer. The answer came seconds later. To where the child died. Back on the colony planet where Lion was killed, something massive entered orbit. It didn't send a message. It didn't make a sound. It just waited. The people on the colony below stared up at the black shadow above them, covering the sky. One child, one death, one ship, and a quiet message from Earth that the whole galaxy could now feel. This is just the beginning. Deep under the surface of the moon, behind massive steel doors that hadn't opened in over a century, something old began to awaken. Long-forgotten lights flickered on. Dust lifted from giant machines. The silence was broken by the slow hum of ancient power cores. Massive engines that once shook the stars started to breathe again. This was Lunar Vault 7, a hidden base created during Earth's darkest war. The first galactic conflict, a war so long ago that many thought it was just a myth. Inside the vault, buried under layers of rock and secrets, stood Earth's ancient fleet. These ships were not like the new ones built today. They were larger, older, stronger, covered in dark armor, armed with weapons banned by the Galactic Council. These ships had no names, only numbers. They were silent guardians, waiting for Earth's call. And that call had finally come. General Marcus Drell stood at the edge of the launch bay, watching as the lights came back to life. Around him, old war veterans, engineers and soldiers in dark uniforms moved quickly. These were not regular soldiers. They were part of the Eternity Corps, a secret group trained to command Earth's last resort fleet. These ships were made for one thing, General Drell said to his team. To remind the galaxy that Earth is not to be broken. The ship in front of him, Unit 09 Valkyrie, had destroyed an entire armada during the Old War. Now, it stood ready once more. Meanwhile, in Earth's sky, people began to see strange black objects moving. They were quiet. They didn't appear on normal scanners. Only military satellites could track them. Some called them ghosts. Others whispered the words, "Earth has awakened." In secret, Earth's President Elena Vos sent a message to all United Earth colonies. "We did not start this. We wanted peace. But peace was shattered by the blood of a child. The galaxy must know. Earth will never forget. We are activating Project Eternity. Stay alert. Stay strong." The message ended. Silence followed. But fear began to grow, not on Earth, but across alien systems. On the Galactic Council's homeworld, Velfar Prime, the leaders met in panic. "They're bringing out the old fleet," said one member. "We thought those ships were destroyed." Another said, "No, they hid them. They waited. They prepared." Panic grew in the council hall. A voice shouted, "Why did we approve the child's death? This wasn't worth it." Kelvar, the alien official who accused Mila, sat quietly, but his eyes showed fear. "They're just humans," he muttered. "No," whispered the oldest council member, a reptilian elder. "They are humans. From Earth." Far in deep space, something moved without sound. A galactic patrol ship suddenly disappeared. It had been following a strange energy signal near the edge of council space. 1 second it was there. The next, it was gone. No explosion. No alarm. Just silence. A single image was sent before the ship vanished. A dark triangle-shaped object floating above a red star. Its shape matched no known ship. The message was corrupted, but one word came through. Valkyrie. Back on Earth, inside the Central Command, the Old War AI Vigil fully reactivated. Its voice echoed in the war room. Enemy aggression confirmed. Human asset Mila Rain. Executed. Civilian target. No trial. Galactic Council violates Articles 1, 4, and 12. Retaliation Protocol. Active. Preparing Phase 1 deployment. General Drell gave a slow nod. "Send the scouts. Let them see our shadows." A captain asked, "Do we strike now?" The general turned toward the large screen showing the Council's worlds. He pointed at one planet. "Not yet, but they will feel us. Let them taste fear first." In the next 48 hours, sightings of strange ships were reported in 10 different star systems. A trade route was found completely empty, ships missing, cargo untouched, no signs of battle. An old space station near the Council border shut down its systems after detecting unknown signals. One alien scientist whispered to his team, "This is not normal warfare. This is precision. This is human." And then, without warning, an old galactic colony planet, long abandoned and marked as uninhabited, was hit. Not destroyed, erased. The surface was turned into smooth glass. Not a crater, not a building, not a tree left. Just silence. A message was carved into the surface of the planet, visible from orbit. "We do not forget." Across the galaxy, a cold wind seemed to blow. The Council, once proud and strong, now sat in silence. Because far away, Earth's old fire had returned, and it was just getting started. The galaxy was on the edge of its seat. Earth had made its move. The Titans were in full control of entire systems, and the Galactic Council had no answers. They were cornered, trapped between fear and pride. The massive ship Judgment hung above the Council's home planet, blocking the sky like a dark omen. It was no longer just a warship. It was a symbol of Earth's power, a reminder that the galaxy had underestimated humanity for far too long. The Council knew they had no time left. They had to act, but they couldn't fight Earth's ships. They could feel the weight of the decision pressing on them. Should they fight, or should they surrender? Inside the council chambers, tension filled the air. The leaders were in chaos, arguing over their next move. We can't give in to them. They're trying to control us all. One leader shouted, his voice trembling with anger. We have no choice. What are we going to do? Send the entire fleet to fight Judgment. That ship alone is stronger than our entire fleet combined. We've already lost Lindros and Norath. If we don't surrender, we lose everything. The debate grew louder, but the leader at the head of the council, Varek, remained silent, his face grave. Finally, he stood up and raised a hand for quiet. We don't have to give up everything, but we have to make a decision. If we fight, we risk the destruction of the entire galaxy. If we surrender, we lose control. But perhaps there is another way. He paused, staring at the map of Earth's warships spread out before him. Vengeance, Echo, Revenant, and Silent Star had all cut through the galaxy like unstoppable shadows, claiming worlds and leaving nothing behind but fear. There was one last hope. We will speak to them, Varek said, his voice low but filled with authority. We will meet them face to face, on neutral ground. If they want control of the galaxy, let's make them prove it. We will surrender only the areas we can no longer defend, but not our spirit. The council hesitated, but then a unanimous vote was called. They had no choice. Earth had made its point. Now, it was time to see if they could strike a deal. On Earth, Ambassador Ria Lang stood before the world's leaders, preparing for the final negotiations. The video feed from the Galactic Council came through. They were ready to talk. Ria's voice was calm as she addressed them. We did not come for war. We came because you took something from us, a child's life. And now, the galaxy must learn that Earth is not a planet to be laughed at. It is a force to be reckoned with. The council listened quietly. They knew this was the turning point. We will not demand or surrender, but we will take control of the systems we have claimed, and we will remain at peace with those who accept us as equals. Ria continued, your fleets have failed to stop us. Your defenses have failed to protect you, but we will offer you a choice. There was a long pause. The entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Join us, or stand against us. The council leaders stared at each other. Could they fight back? Could they resist Earth's power? Or would they finally have to accept that humanity was no longer the weak, emotional species they had once believed? After what felt like hours, Varek made his decision. He looked at his fellow leaders, and with a sigh, he spoke. We accept. The words were simple, but they carried weight that shook the galaxy. The Galactic Council was surrendering to Earth. But it wasn't an unconditional surrender. Earth's terms were clear. The galaxy would be divided, with Earth in control of the systems they had claimed. The Council would remain in power, but only over the worlds they could defend. Earth would be the new power in the galaxy. There was silence, followed by a wave of shock. The people of the galaxy couldn't believe it. How had Earth done it? How had they taken control so quickly? The answer was simple. One child. The death of Lion had set the stage for everything. It had awoken something ancient, something powerful, deep within Earth's past. The Titans had returned, and with them, Earth had demanded to be heard. From that day on, Earth was no longer just a distant, forgotten planet. It was the heart of a new galactic order. And the galaxy would never forget the lesson it had learned. Humans were not weak. Humans were not emotional. Humans were a force to be reckoned with.